Scandal of what's in the water has raised another question. How do we know whether and when it's safe to get in? And so to Windermere. Every week, the protesters and their poo placards are outside the offices of United Utilities. The water company is one of Windermere's biggest polluters. On their posters, though, they've opted for different stats. Knowing what you now know, would you swim in that lake?
Never. No, I wouldn't.
Plenty do, though, and Windermere sells itself as one of the best places in the world for wild swimming and water sports. But the campaigner Matt Staniak, who started the weekly protests, is questioning the system used for testing and rating bathing water.
I personally see it as a propaganda tool. Windermere's bathing water quality is excellent. No need to worry. To say it's excellent is not representative, or it's not actually truthful as to what is happening on the ground.
And in recent years, this is what they've been seeing. The water, luminous green, caused by a bacteria that can be toxic. But it's not tested for as part of the bathing water rating system, a system that is dictated by law. The Environment Agency says warning signs are used for algal blooms, insisting they are absolutely committed to improving Windermere's water quality. They say the suggestion the bathing water classification is about anything other than clear, reliable advice is nonsense.
A freshwater lake, a river and a coastline here in the UK have very different pressures, and as such the legislation needs to be adapted to each one of these different pressures. So for Windermere, I would want to see a specific monitoring regime that definitely takes cyanobacteria and blue-green algae into consideration, for there to be proactive monitoring which then can dictate management of the area and ensure that people can swim safe.
At Windermere's 4 bathing sites, the water's tested for 2 kinds of fecal bacteria about once a week between May and September. Based on those results, Windermere's sites are classed as excellent. But there have also been water quality tests as part of the Big Windermere survey. They've taken samples from more than 100 sites, and they test for more things, though only every 3 months. Their results for last summer showed 34% of sites had elevated levels of bacteria, while just 3% of shoreline sites met the standards for good levels of phosphorus, which can lead to blue-green algal blooms. The Big Windermere results don't contradict the data used to rate the bathing water, if you compare like with like, and only for a few months of the year. But of course, people don't just swim here in the summer, they're swimming all year round. And they're not only using 4 relatively small sites within this vast lake. Which is why the volunteers doing this hundreds of times across the lake give us a bigger picture. And with 2 years of data so far, according to Dr. Ben Surridge, the official system for telling us where and when it's safe to swim has some clear gaps.
We know that people are interested in and are using water environments, and we simply don't have the number of sites monitored in the way that we would want in order to provide information to those people, and that's just a reality. So for me, it's more about, do we have the budgets available to monitor the number of locations where the public is actually interested in using our water environments? And that would really require a step change in our emphasis on the importance of these monitoring data.
And aha!
A change has happened in some ways, with anger over sewage spills putting pressure on policymakers and water companies. And in Cumbria, a partnership, Love Windermere, began, with conservationists agreeing to work with the water company. But less than 2 years on, concerns too little was being done have led the Freshwater Biological Association to publicly walk away.
We all want to see the rejuvenation of Windermere.
And I guess it would feel like a massive wasted opportunity if all of that will didn't translate into something.
It would be beyond comprehension for me. We've got so many great people who want to see change that to let that slip through our fingers would be unforgivable. really unforgivable.
The situation here, as in many places, is not just about sewage. United Utilities points to complex factors, saying it's making investments and improvements, while the water company and the Environment Agency both say there's been a significant fall in how much phosphorus is going into the lake since 2020. Cleaning up Windermere won't be quick or simple, but for those who love this place, there's too much at stake.